All right, guys, so in this video today, we're going to be doing a CS2 investment tier list. We have a bunch of different possible CS2 investment categories, and we're going to be ranking them from S tier to F tier. Obviously, I get asked all the time, hey, what do you recommend investing in, or what should I invest in, or I have $100, what should I buy, blah, 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 blah. And this video is going to give you those answers for at least a general ballpark and the general areas that I think are better or are typically going to give you the best returns or the best potential for returns, and some of the areas to avoid and stay away from as well. So this video should hopefully be pretty entertaining, but also pretty educational as well, and I do think you'll learn a lot from it. But of course, first, just want to mention my cash trading business. If you guys are looking to sell any of your CS2 items, turn them into cold hard cash or crypto or any other payment method, definitely hit me up over on Twitter. It's going to be the first link in the description below. We buy pretty much anything and everything for the right price, but of course, we like to get those bigger deals done. So if you have any knives, gloves, bigger skins, whatever, we can help you cash those out safely, effectively, and efficiently, and you're helping support me, my channel, my content, which I would appreciate a ton. With that being said, let's get right into this today, and we need to start out at the bottom. We need to start out at the F tier, the things to absolutely stay away from, at least in my opinion. I have this knife because I want to use it to represent this in the best way. This is going to be the knife because of StatTrak knives. If you guys don't know, StatTrak knives are pretty terrible. People hate them. The community really, really hates them. They're also very, very illiquid for a couple of different reasons. One is they don't have that demand. People don't really like them. Obviously, they are rare as well, so there's not a ton of like quantity or supply and stuff out there. Part of the reason why people don't like StatTrak knives is because when you get a knife, you're trying to like get a nice little finish on it and stuff, and then it actually has like a StatTrak etched into it, so it actually makes your knife finish look worse. But yeah, StatTrak knives can be very, very illiquid. So a lot of times people will think they're getting like a good deal on a StatTrak knife, or somebody will try to dump their StatTrak knife off to them or whatever. And oftentimes, StatTrak knives can really end up as a massive headache, because even if the price goes up or the price appreciates or whatever, it can be really, really hard to sell it because it's just a super, super illiquid item. And also at the F tier here, I want to put all different kinds of other illiquid items, a lot of stuff that I would tend to stay away from, or at least be very, very careful with, especially without the availability of stuff like Buff 163 is, I don't know, low flow, weird flow, like, oh, I have a 0.069 420 float on my thing. Oh, I have this really crazy craft. Yes, there are some crafts that are going to give you nice overpay and are going to be easy to sell and are going to be consistent. These are just things you need to watch out for, and when I'm investing, these things would just not necessarily be worth the headache. Overall, when I'm investing, I want things that I know are going to have consistent, reliable returns, and things that I know are going to be very, very liquid, because like I said, if that thing does go up or down in price or whatever, and I want to be able to sell or cash out, I want to be able to actually get my money out. So in the F tier, I'm definitely avoiding illiquid items, or items that will be overall a headache to sell. Gotta get the cat down real quick before she knocks over the computer. So that's where we're starting off in the F tier. Very illiquid items. Stay away from them. Sometimes they can be profitable, yes, but they're oftentimes not worth the headache. Up in the D tier, we are moving on to borderless stickers and just overall modern major sticker sets. And obviously, this is very, very applicable right now with the Shanghai Major going on. And I'm definitely going to talk about in videos, whether or not I'm going to be investing in the Shanghai Major, whether or not I think you should invest in the Shanghai Major. But obviously, this is going to tell a lot of that story as well. Modern sticker investing just kind of sucks. It's an absolute headache. Obviously, Valve has just been pumping out more and more and more borderless stickers, and especially after Paris and the millions of stickers that got created, borderless sticker investing or modern sticker investing is going to be a headache for quite some time, and it has proven extremely unprofitable. Obviously, people lost a bunch of money on Paris, and yes, Copenhagen has been maybe a little bit profitable or close to profitable or whatever, but guess what? Now that Shanghai has been borderless once again, I do expect Copenhagen to drop down. Even if Copenhagen does end up being a little bit profitable, it still is not worth the risk. It still is not worth the headache. And there's just not as much potential upside as there is in tying a bunch of your money up for small potential gains and the risk of more and more borderless sticker sets coming out. Now, the reason I have this in D tier and not F tier is because I do believe that there is maybe some future ahead for this stuff years on down the road. I still think there is maybe some money to be made. I do think eventually, and I'm still kind of holding out hope and copium and whatever, that Valve is going to have to start giving us, border stickers at some point. And then I could see definitely borderless stickers having some kind of resurgence, especially some of these sets that maybe don't have as much supply, stuff like Stockholm, stuff like Antwerp, even Copenhagen didn't sell as well. But for right now, I'm staying away from modern sticker sets. I'm staying away from borderless stickers altogether. It's a shame because Antwerp and Stockholm actually has some really cool stuff, but it's just been kind of degraded so far that I'm definitely staying away from it. We're getting up into the C tier now. I'm going to be going with active duty cases. I do think there are, again, why I have this in C tiers, I do think there are some active duty cases that are actually pretty interesting and some that I actually think you could make some investments into. Stuff like right now, the recoil case I think is just so cheap. Stuff like the fracture case, it's been in the active duty for so long, which is good and bad. It's bad because it means the supply is just going to be absolutely massive, especially cases that have been around really, really recently and went through like the CS2 boom and hype and all that stuff, and the massive player base increased. So many of these cases got printed, but also so many of them are being opened up. But active cases, there is some reason why they can be okay investments, because again, in years and years and years, eventually that supply is going to get eaten into and the supply is going to go down, and you're going to be able to make some money. But for active duty cases, especially since you don't know how long they're going to remain in the active duty, it's going to be a long time for some of these cases before you're actually able to see an ROI. And some of these cases aren't even that cheap either. So it just doesn't make a ton of sense, especially when there's just so much better options out there. Like I said, some of these cases I think can be okay, especially if you think they're going to get removed from the active duty pool soon, because cases usually see a nice little bump after that. But this just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. They're definitely ones you want to stay away from, especially ones that are going to be in the active duty, like I said, for 1, 2, 3 more years. Because in that time, the price can go up, but more often than not, the price is going to remain stable or go down, because so many of these cases are still dropping. They're still part of that active drop pool where the new cases are still being created at a huge number. So they're just something I would stay away from. Next in the C tier is going to be play skins. I mean, this could be anything. This can be higher end play skins, stuff like a blue phosphor or a Vulcan or whatever, but it can also be cheaper stuff as well. I know so many people, they hear CS investing, and obviously the first thing they think about is skins, but skins don't appreciate and value that much. Now, if you get the right skin, there can be some skins that do very, very well. The blue phosphor during the CS2 hype made people a ton of money, went absolutely insane, but that is more an exception rather than the rule. Normal play skins, they can still see some nice gains. You can get a 5, a 10, a 15% gain on a play skin throughout the year, but they will have ups and downs. They will have peaks and valleys. It will be kind of random, and the gains aren't as big or aren't as consistent. And with CS investing, you definitely want to try and outpace what would be like traditional gains. In something normal like stocks or whatever, you can see 10% gains, but with CS, there's increased risk in CS investing. There also is increased fees with third-party marketplaces, or having to cash out with cash traders, or having to pay the Steam market fees or whatever. So you really need to get bigger returns, because again, there are the risks of Valve randomly changing things, or the CS player base dying, or regulations coming in, or a new patch ruining your item. There is a lot of actual risk involved with this stuff. So you really need to get those outweighed results. So even though 5 or 10 or 15% returns in a year sounds really, really nice, and it's good, it's fine, but those gains aren't even necessarily guaranteed. They're still not insane. You can still do better out there, and you still really should do better out there, because if you're just getting 10% or less, you'd just be better off with your money probably in other places. Play skins don't have the consistent, really insane gains. Some of them don't even have gains at all, so you have to find the right play skins, and then you still are probably not even going to have that insane of results or returns. And that is also why I also have knives in that same place. I might have knives a little bit higher. Knives at least have really, really high and consistent demand and value. Some knives actually do pretty well. Knives are really going to depend on obviously what knife you have, whether it's like karambit or butterfly or talon, or it's a gut knife or whatever. But it's also going to depend on the wear and the finish and just so many things. Some knives are going to do better than others. Again, knives in general, it's not like they're just going absolutely insane year after year after year. Now, hey, knives are a nice place to put a lot of money, and they're probably going to hold pretty safe and consistent value. They're probably going to consistently go up over time. So that's why I have them in C tier. I think they're solid. I just don't think they're insane. I think there's much better things you can do. And then at the bottom of this category, I have gloves, because gloves, same as skins, same as knives, but gloves have a little bit less demand and are a little bit less liquid and have a little bit, I think, worse kind of gains over time. So this can be kind of the weirdest part of this. Obviously, gloves have become way, way, way more popular over the last couple of years. They've become an integral part of loadouts and stuff like that. And a lot of people do really like gloves way more than they used to. But still, gloves are not skins. They are not knives. The demand, the price action, all that stuff is just not there. Gloves are, I guess, the most stable of the three, and kind of have, I think, the least consistent gains of the three. So it's probably what I would stay away from the most. But overall, again, when I think people are getting into CS investing, they're thinking about stuff like knives and skins and stuff like that, but it's not my recommendation. It's definitely not where my money would be going or is going. I do not invest in knives or skins or gloves, which might sound weird as a CS investor. Getting up into the B tier, I have agents. Agents is something I have talked about a lot in the past, and B tier might seem a little bit low because I have said and have even invested in agents at certain points. Currently, I do not have any agent investments, but I do think agents can be a good investment. But I do think that obviously like a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever, agents were a lot more attractively priced, were maybe even a little bit undervalued, maybe had a lot more potential. But since then, agents have gone on an absolute tear, and their prices are a little bit higher now. Obviously, I don't want to base this too much of off the current market and stuff, but agents do have some risk and some potential things in the future that could hurt them. Obviously, Valve has kind of been teasing, or we've seen leakers and stuff tease from like the code and everything that there could be more agent customization coming in the future, and that could be either really good or really bad for agents. But there is some risk it could end up being really, really bad for agents, because if you're able to customize your agents and do a bunch of crazy things with them and have a bunch of customization options and all that, then there could be less need or desire for the high-end agent skins, or paying like $150 for a Miami Darrell when you can just make and customize a really cool agent, like with some agent customization options. So that's something to watch out for. Also, agents are non-consumable, which is definitely a bad thing for them, meaning that the supply of agents is not dropping, because once an agent's created, it's just there forever, as opposed to something like stickers or cases where the supply is actually dropping. They have way more solid fundamentals. And we could get new agents at some point as well, which could decrease the demand for some of those agents. So obviously, if I was going to invest in agents, which I have done in the past, but I don't do right now, I would definitely try to invest in agents that are really, really unique and different, and are not going to be as at much risk as if new agents come out and maybe people don't want the old ones that aren't as cool anymore. Stuff like Miami Darrell will probably always be pretty cool, but it is possible that a new coolest or most expensive agent could drop, and then Miami Darrell's not the coolest anymore, and maybe he's not as valuable. So that's something to watch out for. Also in the B tier, I have patches. Now again, patches are another thing like this. Now, what patches have going for them is that they are consumable. So the supply of patches is actually going down. Now, what patches have going against them is they are not as popular. The demand for them isn't as high. Now, hey, also the great thing is the supply is not as high. And there are actually some really, really strong communities out there for patch collecting and patch investing and patch crafting. And again, there are some good and bad things for patches. Obviously, if a new patch set does come out, that could be bad for some of these other patches that people like a lot. But if new agents come out, people could increase their patch crafting, and that could be a really, really good thing that eats into these older patches a lot. And if there are more agent customization and agent highlighting and stuff like that, patches could become a bigger and bigger thing. But yeah, for right now, patches are kind of hard to be seen in game. People don't really care about them that much, but still, people have been able to make a lot of money off patch investment. They were, again, probably more attractively priced a year ago, or even more so before that, but then the prices went up a ton, but they have come down a little bit recently as well. So patches are something that I have invested a little bit previously in the past. I've made a little bit of money off them, but I've also invested in some patches that have gone down and lost a little bit of money there. But overall, I think patches are good, and I really do like that they are consumable and low supply, and those supplies only getting less. And I like that they're not super liquid either. I think people think they're a little bit less liquid than they actually are. I haven't had too much issue actually selling patches in the past, buying them, selling them, whatever. There is some genuine demand out there, especially for the good ones. Now, getting into the A tier, we have a couple of different options here. I know, I did shit on recent modern kind of sticker investing, but I think in the A tier is going to be older bordered stickers, or just older stickers in general, because I'd also throw like Cato 14s in here. I think these can be a very, very good investment. Now, obviously a lot of people are going to be priced out of the Cato 14 market, but the good thing about older stickers is that there's really price points for everyone. If you're on a cheaper budget, you can get stuff like Columbus or Boston or Atlanta, and you also have the different options of being able to get foils or hollows or papers. If you have a little bit of a bigger budget, you can go for something a little crazier like a Cato 15 or a DreamHack 14. If you have the mega budget, you can go for something like the Cato 14, obviously. And I think these have really, really good fundamentals. Obviously, stickers are consumable. As we get more and more skins into the game, it's going to lead to more and more crafting. There's going to be, as these get older, they're only going to get more rare. People are going to get banned. People are going to become inactive. People are going to craft with them. People are going to forget about them, whatever. And I think their prices are just going to consistently increase over time. Now, maybe we're not going to have the explosive growth on these or anything anymore, but I think some of these items are very, very cool, and I think they're very great investments as well. And like I said, as we continue to get more skins added to the game, people are going to want to continue to create more and more unique crafts and stuff like that. And some of these items, like a Cato 14 or a DreamHack 14 or a Cato 15 or whatever, they are 9, 10, 11 years old at this point. They're only getting older. They're only getting more rare. The supply is only going down. I think These stickers have a ton of really, really great fundamentals. And also, as Valve shows they want to continue to put out more and more borderless stickers, a lot more of these older, more unique stickers and bordered stickers become a lot more iconic and unique and different because there's something we're not seeing really anywhere else in the game. So that's why I really, really like those. Also in the A tier, we have operation items like operation stickers. Right now we have the gallery items. I think you could throw different things in here, but mostly I guess this is like operation stickers, operation items, whatever. It also depends what you're talking about, because if you're talking about investing in them during the actual operation or while they're actually dropping in the gallery, that's when I would have this in the armory. This is why I would have in the A tier. Now later on, after prices have already exploded and stuff, they maybe don't become as good, but buying operation Riptide items during Operation Riptide, or buying armory items right now during the armory, stuff like stickers for cheap or skins for cheap or something like that. I think that is an A tier, and I think you do have a really good chance to make a ton of money, because obviously operation items and stuff like the armory, you're only able to get it during the actual operation or during the armory or whatever. So you have a finite supply, and while it's going on, people are pumping a ton of money into them. The supply is increasing, the prices are usually dropping, and then after that, the supplies are only going to drop over time, especially on the consumable items like stickers, like skins, stuff like that, operation cases, whatever. So I think these are really, really cool and a big opportunity. People have made a ton of money off a lot of the previous operations, and I really think people are actually going to make a decent amount of money off the armory update as well, even though we do have a lot of different things going on for it there. Another thing in the A tier is going to be discontinued cases. I think discontinued cases are really, really good. Kind of the one knock or downside about them, at least from the ones we have, Broken Fang or Shattered Web or Riptide, is that the prices are a little bit higher, so there's maybe not as much ceiling. There's not as much supply out there. People aren't really opening them as much, so the supply isn't going down as rapidly or anything like that. The price is so elevated, maybe you can say it doesn't have as much room to go up or whatever, but discontinued cases I do think are a very, very strong investment. They're only going to continue to keep going up in price. They're only going to continue to keep dropping in supply. They're definitely something I'm watching out for. And then I also have trade-up skins in the A tier. Trade-up skins, like this is the MP9 Army Sheen, are really, really strong, especially for collections that people really like doing trade-ups for. Collections with those big skins in it, those big ticket items that people really, really want are always going to be trading up for. Again, trade-up skins are another thing where especially trade-up skins at the very, very bottom of the rarity tier, they're not going to be created anymore. You can't trade up into the bottom tier, and when people do trade-ups, you're getting 5, 6, 8, 10 of those skins being deleted from the game all at once. Those supplies are only going to be dropping. Those skins are only going to be getting older, only getting more rare. That's going to be great. It makes a really, really good investment. Some of these have some really, really insane gains, actually. And they're actually a great investment. Again, these trade-up skins are not the most insane skins. They're not the super cool skins that people are going to be, shocked when you pull up in the matchmaking game with them or anything like that. They're not the skins that people would normally buy to, have in their inventory, but they end up actually being a lot better investments than stuff like a Vulcan or a Blue Phosphor or whatever. So yeah, if I was going to invest in skins, and some of the only skin investments I do have are stuff like the MP9 Army Sheen, stuff like trade-up skins. So that might be a little counterintuitive, but it's actually the way to make a lot more money off of your skin investments. And finally, in the S tier, I really do only believe, at least at this point in my CS2 investing journey, that there is one S tier item in the CS2 investing. And if there was one place where I had to put all of my money, every single dollar, it would be a no-brainer for me. If I had to invest in just one item or one item class or one set of items, it would be rare cases. These are cases in the rare drop pool, which are 1% of the overall drop pool. And again, it's not each case is 1% of it. All of the rare drop cases are 1% of all the cases that get dropped. And guess what? There is millions of cases being opened every month. So for sure, most, if not all of the cases in the rare drop pool, their supplies are going down all the time. And that means over time, at least in theory, those prices are going to be going up. It should be really consistent. It should be really, really nice gains. Now, of course, it's going to be different at different times. It depends on the player base. Depends on how many cases are being opened up. Depends on if there's other things for people to be spending their money on, like Shanghai stickers or like the armory or whatever. But in general, I think it's a really, really safe bet. Valve makes a ton of money off people opening cases, and investing in rare cases is your way to get a slice of that pie and to make some money yourself. And yeah, I just think it's the only S plus investment in all of CS2 investing. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.